Okay, take 25 in getting this started. Whew. Deep breath. That's how 2026 is going. That's how 2025 ended. Seth came to me, I think in a nice way. He had this idea and wanted to give me a break, which I definitely could use. It's the first time I'm sitting up at a podcast in a while. But on the flip end of that was, hey, you're going to have to record on your own. And I have to say, I've been procrastinating this for a little while just because of the setup. I got 2 cameras going. I got a mic lav. I'm making some coffee. I got my laptop in front of me with some of these questions. And I have to reflect on my own without the sounding board of Seth, who he called me his better half. But I think the truth be known is that this is Seth's bread and butter. So I'm going to sit. I'm going to squirm a little. As you know, if you're a listener of the show, ended the year with just a little bit of back surgery. And here we are. We're doing all right. So I'm just going to jump into it. I'm going to fly through this. I don't know if it's going to be an hour or 20 minutes. I guess it depends on the situation behind me and how the dogs are. Of course, when I sit down to do something, they start playing immediately, and I had to trick them with some treats. But that will only last for so long. So, without further ado, here we go. How has the year gone, 2025? I think it was a tale of 2 halves, maybe not even halves, but the last part of it was definitely interesting and eye-opening. But overall, 2025, I think went great. You know, it was a year. It was a year where you do stuff, where you have ups and downs. At this stage of my life, I'm not too big on labeling things like, oh, that was a bad year, or that was a good year, or we need 2025 to end. It's just life. That's kind of how I think of it. It's just like how it goes. Some things are good, some things are bad. Some things are bad and then turn into good. Some things are good and then turn into bad. Right? That's what it is. I'm not trying to be too philosophical here. This is how I think. This is how I think, and I'm going to share it. All right, so what went well? This year felt like a settling year. A settling year where I was able to truly become kind of myself. I think I can have the tendency to fake it, and fake it well, if I'm being vulnerable. Fake it well and become a lot of different things. Become a photographer, become a podcaster, become a good friend, become a good son, do the things I'm supposed to do or feel like I should do, be a good father. I feel like you can become a lot of different things. And sometimes you lose sight of like who maybe you really are and what you truly enjoy. So, 2025, I feel like, was a very calm year in terms of me just settling in and not pushing as much as I usually have. And especially in the last like 5 or 6 years, not pushing. And what I mean by that is, you know, I took my photo gigs, I took some cabin gigs, it was the usual, but I wasn't pushing to like hit check marks or prove anything. The one thing that I pushed myself at, I'll get into in a little bit, caused some of the situations I feel like that I had later on in the year. So here come the dogs. That lasted 2 minutes. That was great. Let's see if we can survive them. They're cute, but quite annoying. I kid. They're amazing. All right. What went well? becoming myself, like I said. I'll get into that maybe a bit more. Steady work. For the first time I feel like 2 clients that really filled my time and left me at a place where I didn't feel like I had to really search or find people or find clients, getting to a place where I felt like, all right, these are my clients. I'm going to focus on them. They're giving me enough work. I feel satisfied in terms of my creative endeavor. That was a great part of 2025. Working with The View, the golf place and banquet hall and facility, and working with Telefunken. And then I had, I think, 2 cabins that I worked with that were pleasures and really did well. That kept me going through the year. That really filled the cup in terms of photography and what I was trying to do, and keeping my foot in the game, along with the podcast and doing the retreat. Weekly, coming on the show with Seth, bantering back and forth. I'm finding this pretty difficult actually right now, just doing this on my own. So I miss him terribly, but I will persevere for the greater good. But yeah, so that went well. Steady work, Telefunken, cabins, feeling like I was myself with friends, family. That's a bigger story of 2025, is feeling like this was a year of, let the dogs drink. He's never drank that much water in his entire life, put together. That's superfluous amounts of water. You good? All right. 2025, being myself, being honest with myself, with people, not trying to please, not trying to give the right answer, not trying to do the right thing for people to appreciate. All right. Yeah, come here. Give me that. Come here. Come here. Give me that. Let go. Nope, not doing that. Squeaky toy 1. For those that are keeping score at home, that's squeaky toy number 1. All right. What went badly? Again, badly, I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't the time for it. But if I were to pick things that went badly or poorly, there was a lack of aggressive building. I was pretty complacent with, I think, where we are as a podcast. Wasn't pushing. Where I was as a photography brand, if you will, in terms of getting more clients. None of that really was motivating me. I was kind of settling in this year. Call it badly, call it you got bored, you were stagnant, you were spinning your wheels, whatever you want to call it. It's what needed to happen, I think, for the time. So that's that. That's one thing. Another thing that went badly, I just have noticed the phone addiction and the checking of Instagram, the checking of my certain social medias, investments, like whatever, just the habit of checking all the time. I'm not a fan of that. I need to work on mitigating that, fixing that, diminishing that a little bit, so it's not just a complete part of my life that's like, I mean, I just really know in my soul it's not something I want to look back at and be like, yeah, you didn't spend enough time on your phone. That's not what I'm here for. And relationships and things suffer. Like, I'm going to put it over there because it's buzzing right now, and I should have put it on Do Not Disturb, but I didn't, and now I'm disturbed. So that's something that went poorly. What lessons did I learn from these things? Oh, the other thing, running. Seth loves running, and he talks very highly of it. I'm going to be the other voice on that matter. I'm not a fan. I never was. I don't enjoy it. I enjoyed a little bit this year trying to push myself and getting to a place where I felt like, all right, you can run 2 miles, you can have a decent time. But the idea of pounding and keep going 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles, keep moving up to that place. The pace of it is super slow, super arduous, and like hard on my body. And that's what I found. I was pressured, talk about being true to yourself. But at the same time, I wanted to test myself. I wanted to see if I could get to a place where I enjoyed running, if that was even possible. And I did it pretty consistently over the summer with a good friend, had some fun. But the part behind it that I ignored was the pounding of my body and back more specifically. And I hate to blame it on running, and I know running can increase your core strength and make you feel better, but sometimes, you know, at 44 years old at the time, 45 years old at the time, sometimes you have to say, like, is this the thing that is good for me holistically versus on paper? On paper, sure, but on paper doesn't know the little ailments that I have. And unless you're really working through those ailments and figuring things out, I think it can be a detriment. I really do. And I feel like I had a minor herniation for the last 10 years of my back. And I think the constant pounding just jammed that out enough to put me in a situation where it hit the nerve and things went bad. I'm not going to get into my back stuff. I did that in a whole other episode, but it went to a really bad place. And not to say that it didn't happen, or again, that it's bad or good, either way. Maybe it went to a place where I got it fixed and I can really move on past that, instead of having to kind of think of it in the back of my head. So hopefully things turn out for the best, but at the same time, I know that repetition of slamming my 6'4", 6'5" frame into the pavement over and over again probably didn't help, if we're being honest. And I'm not blaming it on running, but I am blaming it on running, so I never have to do that again. Yeah. So, what lessons did I learn from that deep listening to myself, body and health, and how important that is? I don't know. Like sometimes everything's a trade-off. So you put in the hours on the pavement, and on the other end of it comes wear and tear. So dogfight number 1, for those keeping score at home, dogfight number 1. And that one is 10 points. All right. So deep listening to myself, super important. Really asking yourselves the why. We've talked about that many times. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose? What's the end goal behind it? I skipped out on a lot of core and Pilates work that I've loved in the past to keep my back strong, and jumped ahead to pushing myself. And with some of the, you know, don't listen to your aches and pains, the David Goggins sort of mindset, maybe cause some issues. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I do have a sneaking suspicion. What habit or system accounted for the most of your success? I think follow through and small steps in getting things done. So with my return clients, just staying solid with them, being consistent, emailing, responding, communicating, getting things done, making sure that the projects are tidy to the best of my ability. I think my quality of work in terms of creativeness, not necessarily the photo taking, but how many creative photos can you do of microphones before you start to like dry the well and lose ideas? I think I persevered and got pretty creative when I needed to, but overall, just the communication and letting them know if I was having trouble, letting them know if I was missing something or had an idea that I wanted to accomplish, and getting it done. There were opportunities to do some shoots right before my surgery, and having to postpone or cancel things or squeeze something in. Just being very honest with what's going on, I think was a good thing that I did. What are the most valuable ways I spend my time with my son is number one, always dogs in my relationship, any relationships. That's how I want to spend my time. I don't need to do a ton of things. I just would really like to spend time with the people and little furries that I care about. How can I find more time to do this? I think slowing down in the grind of things, always keeping in mind what's important, trying to keep true to that, and spending time with people that you want to spend time with, going to places that you want to go to, not filling your time with things that you're like, I'm not psyched about that. All right. What brought me the most happiness? I think there's an understanding that, for me at least, and I try to remember this, it's not always the easiest thing to remember, but happiness is from in me. It isn't something I outsource to other people. I try not to say like, ooh, I need this person in my life, and that is the only reason why I'm going to be happy. Of course, people add happiness and add a little sugar to my life, a little, put some money in my bank account. That adds some happiness. Get an extra client. I feel good about myself. But ultimately, the way I perceive things, the way I give gratitude towards things, that's what I'm looking to cultivate in 2026. Is that understanding that happiness is coming from inside here and less of like these external things. Spending time with good people, visiting places I want to visit, being parts of things I want to be part of, and not so much looking to really get that external validation that I think we all look at and look for at sometimes. But fading away from some of that, which I've done before. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone or beyond that. I've done that. But it doesn't really add up to much. I think, again, it's how we look at things. And time with my son and my dogs, and the important people in my lives, family, friends, relationships, whatever it may be. Like that's where I wanna be, and spending that time. How can I help these activities to happen more often? I just think spend the time with the good people. Spend the time with the people that feed your soul. To name a few, Seth. Seth is someone I talk to every single week, whether we're talking about photography stuff or life or whatever it is. He's a good person in my life. Nooch is someone I look up to in terms of work ethic and drive and stories and similar likes. My best friend John, my son, my neighbor Nicole, Rihanna, everyone in my life is great. The people at work have been wonderful through this injury in 2025, or the back surgery in 2025. The reach out and the care, they've all been really, really special. It's family. It like makes you realize what is very important. So how can I see or collaborate with them more? I feel like when I was answering that question, I do fully. I have a small circle. I always have had like one or two really good friends that I'm close with, and that is what I focus on. That's where I put my energy. I have a hard time spreading my energy super thin amongst many, many, many people. So I keep people close, and that is what I'd like to do. I'd rather be one-on-one with anyone than go to a big party and small talk my way into oblivion. Not for me. So yeah, that's that. What did I expect to complete but didn't? 10K race. However, I learned a lot more from it all, I think. I was pushing myself to get 10K training from the summer till November, early November. And by early November, I started to really feel kind of the symptoms of what was going on in my back and slowed down the running. And then by the end of November is when it really all kind of crashed at a head and needed surgery for it. But I didn't complete that. That was a goal. I put that out there, but I think I learned a valuable lesson, which is like sometimes pushing through, which I did a lot. There were signs early on that things were not right. Stuff I could push through, stuff I could run through, but things that I didn't check on that probably were huge warning signs, like a little bit of numbness or tingles down my left leg after a big walk or hike or run. It would sort of come and go, and I was like, that's weird, and I just kind of let it be, knowing very well what the issue probably was. Is it still an important goal of yours? How can you make sure in the future you follow through? Nope. No, it is not. I really have a bad taste in my mouth about running. I've never liked it. I've been an athlete, played basketball, lacrosse, tennis. I like being active and moving, but the running, it's just not for me. And for all that do it, I support you. And I want you to do well and beat your time and post your Strava. However, I don't give a shit anymore about running or times or distance. And maybe that's bitter me talking right now. But I think at this age and state of the game, I'm going to find different ways to exercise and stay fit and stay active that are less abusive to the old body. All right. What are the least valuable ways I'm spending my time? I've always thought, and I still do it, so I'm just as guilty as anyone, but spending time on my phone scrolling, I think more than just wasting time, and that's a big part of it, but the anxiety, stress, the useless thinking. You'll see a bunch of stories about whatever happened in some other place in the world, and you'll spend a lot of time thinking about it, which isn't bad. There's pros and cons to both of this, being aware of what's going on, but also sifting through the AI stuff and what's fake and what's not real and what's taken out of context and what's, driven towards your echo chamber and what's trying to incite anger and a million different things that I could list about. I just don't think it is the overall, the net gain is in the negative for me. I think there's moments of like, this is great and inspiring and connects me to people, absolutely. But I also think that there's a lot of moments that are like, I don't need to be seeing this or thinking about this right now. I have other things I need to be doing. So that's that. How can I prevent myself from continuing to spend time in this way? I've already started some limitations. For example, when my son's around, the phone is away. And I can check it periodically to make sure I'm not missing anything. However, it's just not in my hand where you can get into that sort of easy habit of just checking it repeatedly, behaviorally. I think that's the biggest first step, and that's what I'm going with. How have your goals or priorities shifted over the last few months? It's been a dramatic change as I shift positions and stand up more straight or sit up more straight. But body and health, getting back to feeling good. This is a long, slow, tricky recovery where it's like you start to feel really good but you still can't do anything. And that's tough mentally. So I'm still dealing with a little bit of numbness in my leg, and frankly, it's a good reminder that things went awry because my back feels pretty good, the incision site feels pretty good, I feel strong. I feel like I could swing a golf club right now, which is not recommended. I don't think my surgeon would love that. Or maybe he would, because it might be a return customer. Yeah, so just staying mentally strong with the process and going at a snail's pace back to recovery is my goal to maintain that. It's frustrating. This week was my first week back to work, and just sitting up and standing all day is exhausting. And those are the things when not too long ago in the summer I was running 5 miles, 6 miles, and now standing up and sitting is exhausting. It's pretty humbling. So don't take your health for granted. Work on the things that are bothering you. Slow down, build that foundation. It becomes truer and truer as you age. All right. Is there anything I'm still doing that is no longer in alignment, and why? Yeah, there's something when I was reading this that stuck out. Being so rigid with tracking, and I mean tracking by this gigantic Garmin that I'm wearing, screen time, data, how many emails did you send out this month, how many clients did you have, how much income did you make, how was your sleep numbers, did you have enough deep sleep, did you have enough REM sleep, did you have enough light sleep, how many times were you awakened, what's your training readiness number, how is your HRV? Listen, I think that stuff can make us crazy.
Was that for me?
No, that was not for you. All right.
Got it. I'll just go back to my digital corner then.
Great idea. Unbelievable. Okay. But I think that stuff can make us crazy. And I think it can make a fine night's sleep into a bad night's sleep because we saw the numbers and start to freak out about what it is that we think we should be feeling based on what our watch said. And here's the thing. All this stuff can be good. All this stuff can be helpful. But at some point you cross this line where it becomes obsessive and just this game of beating it and awards. And I was finding that with running. I got a badge from Garmin that I had my best mile time today. Yeah, cool. Very cool. But then it creates this gamified thing where I like the approach in 2026 of a good friend who goes to run to just be outside and breathe and not keep track of how far they go. They just go until they're done. They run when they run. They're tired when they're tired. They walk for a little bit. They run. There's no timing. There's no, I need to beat this. To me, that's 2026. That's where I'm headed. That mentality. Now, you might say, well, you're not gonna accomplish any goals. Well, maybe you don't need to accomplish any goals. Maybe you don't need to prove something or beat something or be the best at something. Seth's probably rolling in his grave and throwing dishes at the wall right now. But he probably also hears me and I hear him. And I once was in my 30s and pushing super hard as well. But I don't know. After 2025 and taking a step back and the road that I'm facing, I feel like for me right now, it's going to be a little bit of why don't you enjoy things and stop tracking your sleep or how many breaths you took in an hour and trying to optimize the sweat salt level of your or the salt level of your sweat. Stop trying to optimize the salt level of your sweat. That's what I'm trying to say. I was distracted by the dogs trying to break through the door. Anywho, those of you keeping score at home, dogs scratching at the door incessantly, 10 points. All right, memories. Best surprise. I got my son a guitar for Christmas. I wasn't sure how he was going to like it, but he opened it up and was like, oh, like this is so nice. And he started playing it and he's getting somewhere and it's incredible. And I just love sharing passions with him, whether it's golf or photography or travel or now music. Like music's something that we could do together for the rest of our lives. And that was a nice moment. Best meal? I have to say, Brico in West Hartford. This pasta dish hit hard. I was starving. We had waited a little bit for a table and the food came out relatively fast and it was insane. And I had my first affogato dessert, which is just vanilla ice cream with espresso poured over it. That's a phenomenal, simple dessert. Great. Coolest new experience. Started a jam band with my buddy John. So John and I have played guitar out publicly for probably 15 years, maybe more. And it is more than that. It's like 16 or 17 years. And in the last year or two, we've gotten into the jam band scene. You know our stories with Goose and Dogs in a Pile. And those are bands, not my living room. But John and I decided, I used to play piano when I was a kid. I'm going to shift away from guitar a little bit and get some keyboards, and went on this like keyboard obsession and got our old drummer back. I met a bass player out at an open mic. He's played with us. So Dave and Steve and John and myself have created this band where we do covers, but it's super fun. And going out there and creating music and having fun with it, and it's all new, and it's like going from photography to videography, where you have like this new experience, and it's kind of related, but it really gets the juices flowing, and it's been great. As you can see, my Grateful Dead corduroy, which I'm proudly wearing. So, to all the jam bands out there, and music lovers and guitar lovers, cheers. Favorite new emotion? Yeah, it's got to be peace. Just things at peace. Chaos is not for me. So 2025 and 2026, and anytime I'm feeling down about progress in terms of my health or being active or whatnot, I just try to look for like peace. Like, you have your health, we can get it back, we're good, let's slow down. That stuff is all good. Most intense week was getting hurt, realizing it was really bad, having a doctor be like, this is some of the worst I've ever seen, like we need to have surgery immediately. That was a scary week. Those are those moments where like life's going super fast and super slow at the same time. You're hurt, every day feels like a century, but at the same time, before you know it, you're like about to be put under and be wheeled off into surgery. And I'd be lying if I wasn't scared. You put a ton of trust into people that you don't know, right? Like, this happened so fast, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like this stranger is gonna be cutting into my back. How was his weekend? Like, was he drinking all night? I'm like, well, I don't know anything about this guy. Is he pissed off at his wife? Like, how's his mood? You just don't know anything. And you put a ton of trust into people doing these serious things. And that was an intense experience. So, geez, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Favorite artist? I don't know. Right now, I'm really addicted and loving two jam bands. I really like Goose, of course, but I've found myself super interested in a band called Dogs in a Pile. And if you like good musicians and musicianship and maybe not the best singing, I don't know, I'm being judgy. But in terms of like guitar playing, keyboard playing, a drummer, the bass player, like all of them together, it's insane. It's a bunch of guys that went to Berkeley and they just do some incredible fun stuff. It's fun music, it's interesting, it's really just spot on. Yeah, so favorite quote. This one I think ties to the happiness within sort of monologue I gave earlier. Anywho, John Milton's famous quote, "The mind is its own place, and in itself can make heaven of hell and hell of heaven." So, again, the mind is its own place, and in itself can make heaven of hell and hell of heaven. I just think that's kind of true. I mean, a lot of us can be miserable and have a lot of things going for us. A lot of us can have not a lot of things going for us and have smiles on our faces. Depending on who you are and your upbringing and just the way you view the world, I think it's proof to me that you can maintain gratitude and happiness despite just about anything. That's something I strive for. I always love that quote. I believe I heard it this year, if not before, but I heard it again this year, and it's always been rattling around in my head. All right, ready for the plan. What would you do this year if you wanted to make 85-year-old you, me, miserable? I would ignore what was going on with my back. For 10 years, this has been going on. For about 5 of those years, I took it very seriously and things started to feel better. And then I started to get lazy with that process. And I know it just degraded over time. And then I pushed really hard this year with working, with running, and was not paying attention to some of the symptoms and kept pushing through. And here we are. So I think 85-year-old me, as Seth would say, no chance. No chance, bud. You're 6'5". Ever see a 6'5", 85-year-old? Nope. Doesn't work out that way for you. Sorry, bud. I'm sorry, bud. And I would be like, well, I'm going to be the first. I'm sure there's been a huge guy that's lived past 85. Come on. Come on. But I was just talking to a buddy, and like sport is amazing, but it can run you down, and I think it does play a toll on your body. I'm just feeling more inclined to do long walks and hikes and body weight and yoga and Pilates and maybe even Tai Chi, maybe some mobility stuff, but maybe the days of like pounding the pavement or full-on sprints is beyond me. And that's okay. It's just a different chapter, and I will persevere. What would 85-year-old me wish you did more of? I think be honest with myself and everyone, always. That's something that's taken time. People pleasers often can say things that other people want to hear, not be honest. I think in 2025 I had some hard conversations with some great people, and that stuff is never easy, but it was stuff that I was feeling and stuff that I had to kind of share. And it's all okay. It all works out usually. But those are tough lessons and things that I want to keep on doing. It's tough. It's not always easy, but I think it's important to try to be honest and really be truthful with what you're feeling, even if it's something you think they don't want to hear. The second part to that is what I wish I could do more of. My 85-year-old self is, I think, I mean, this is an obvious one, cliche one, but spend every waking minute I can with my son and do things and keep it special. Not be on my phone while he's hanging out. Not, not lose ourselves in TV or screens or Nintendo Switch or Xbox or like whatever it can be. Staying present and doing things and keeping things special. What are things that I do that make my day go great? Simple stuff, I think. Sleep well at night, eat well, slow down, do one thing, and definitely don't hold on to resentments or unnecessary thoughts that are negative. Letting stuff go, having conversations if you need to. I think letting stuff out. I'm a counselor. I believe in that stuff, but letting stuff out makes you lighter, makes you happier. What things make my day go terribly? The opposite of that. Rushing. I do not like rushing, chaos, moving around like crazy, not prioritizing things, and not speaking my truth if I need to. What do you think is productive, or what do I think is productive that isn't? I think, and I'm decent at this, but over planning. Over planning feels productive, and I run into this at work a lot. Maybe not myself, but with coworkers, where we're like planning every single little detail that no one's going to notice. And I think we can do that with clients too, and go crazy editing things that they're not going to see or notice, especially when you edit things away or change things. They're not going to recognize what it was before. So we can go crazy trying to overdo stuff or perfect things, which there's like this diminishing returns at some point. So some people feel like that can be productive, myself included. I think overdoing it sometimes is not. What is productive that I don't realize? Sleeping. Slowing down, sleeping, getting rest to make the time that you're awake productive and nice. That is productive, which doesn't necessarily mean it. Like, people think we have to stay up all the time, and then, but you need your rest. It's a simple one. Seth would like that one. What do I want to do less of with my time? I already talked about it. Phone scrolling. How original. What do you want to do more of your time? Being with the people I care about and fostering those relationships. I realized as I was recovering and people were reaching out and sending stuff, like, there's special people in my life. There's special people in my life that care about you, and how important that is to have those relationships. It really hit me. There was one moment where I was like, I couldn't be alone after the surgery, and I had this moment of a block of like, oh, I'm alone, and I had the support of so many people. And I just put myself in the shoes of someone that like doesn't have people, doesn't have someone around, doesn't have people to help, and how difficult a recovery, an inevitable health scare as you get older and you're by yourself. So fostering those relationships, making sure they're strong, being there for people, being there for your friends and your family, and making sure that you have a crew, you have family, you have a nice support circle for when and if things go south. Because if you live long enough, unfortunately, they will. This is a very uplifting podcast. What does an ideal, normal day look like? Write it out. I didn't go too far into this. I do think change, for me, is an ideal day. People asked when I was at home for about a month, oh my God, you must have got so bored. Nope. No, I did not. I elongated the moments and created a day and a pattern where Coffee took 45 minutes to brew. Slow pour it, take my time, slow drink it, listen to some music, decide what I'm going to do next, fold laundry very carefully and slowly. Everything was deliberate and took up most of my time. Lay down, play some guitar for an hour, watch a show, go for a small walk, play with the dogs, whatever it was. It just became the flow and finding different things to keep my attention at a slower pace. I wish I could have been, a perfect day, more outside, more active, sure. But finding things and I think really being present with them is all you need sometimes. What conversations do I need to have? All of them. I'm going to try really hard to be done holding in hard conversations. That's something in the last couple of years I've been better at, but it's still a work in progress. I'm not fixed. Anyone that says they're healed, I'd question it. I think it's a linear growth. It's funny, like I look back to, no offense, Seth, but you're much older than your age. But I look back to my early 30s compared to now, and it's like, I thought I knew everything back then. And I think realizing that now at 45, I can go like, I knew nothing. But that realization is like, oh, that's happened a couple times. At 20, I thought I knew everything. At 30, I thought I knew everything. At 40, I thought I knew everything. You're always going to think you knew everything or you know everything or you're really solid. But at some point, you start to fool me once, fool me twice. You start to realize, like, even at 45, I'm sure at 55, I'm going to be like, at 45, I was sitting there talking about life on a podcast. Like, what a clown. Like, this is life now. And I think that realization allows you to be like less opinionated, less I know everything about the world, less just sure of yourself, which I think is a sign of intelligence. If you're less sure of yourself, it's more of an understanding that, like, who the hell knows what this is about and what's going on. So, I don't know. What are the habits I'm committing to starting and stopping? Core work, as I sit up straighter, body weight stuff, eating well, getting back into motion. I want to continue. It's funny. I, in high school, was an athlete. In college, a little bit of, not for college, but just in college, playing sports and club teams and what have you. Got into slow pitch softball very competitively in my mid-20s, pulled a hamstring real bad and decided, you know what, I think I'm done with like hard sprints and getting hurt, so I'm gonna start playing golf. Got obsessed with that. Play golf at a decently high amateur level, I would say. Like, I'm not pro or anything, but I've had some really nice rounds and scores, but got to a point where I hurt myself doing that, and that's been that. Now, okay, let's just straight jog. Let's see if that can sustain. Nope. So then what I'm left with is, I feel like, the thing that I started with as a young kid, which is music. And it's kind of this full circle moment of like, you know what? Music's the thing that at the end of the day, I will be able to do the very longest at the highest level. I'm sure as you get into your 70s and 80s, your dexterity and everything slows down, your cognitive speed slows down. However, like, there are some great musicians that are in their 60s and early 70s that are still just really kicking it. And I had this realization of like, oh, there should be more focus on that than athletics. I believe in staying in shape and being fit, and I think it's really important. But there's been this sort of rekindling of my love of music with this new band, getting some new gear, seeing some shows, and deciding like, oh, I want to like pursue this. I want to get better at this. I want to start practicing this. And even when you think you're like as good as you can get, like I actually purchased some lessons for guitar and piano. I haven't dug into the piano yet, but I played the guitar a ton while I was recovering and have made some improvements with like directed instruction and directed learning. And that's been a fun process, and that's something I'm looking to start. Okay, final thoughts. What would have had to have happened by the end of next year for me to look back on the year and consider it a success? Well, with what happened at the end of this year, a healthy year with a healthy progression and back to normal. I think that's my number one priority and what I'm looking for. And again, in my relationship, in my relationships, just really fostering those and being honest and truthful and caring and spending time with the people I care about. Knowing what I know now, what advice would I give to myself 12 months ago? You probably need to hear it now. Well, duh. I think we could all figure that out. Is maybe slow down. In that case with the running, it could have been anything. It could have been golf. It could have been taekwondo. Who knows what it could have been. But the main point was I ignored some red flags within my body and kept pushing through for a variety of reasons. Confusion, over stimulus in terms of like the David Goggins approach of like push through it, baby. He wouldn't use that word. He used a much different word. But push through it. It's just your body trying to make you stop. Okay. Well, success body, you made me stop. You know? So here I am. Didn't listen to the body that's just trying to make me stop, and I'm stopped. I'm very much stopped right now. So 12 months ago, I'd be like, dude, you want to run? That's great. But you're ignoring a certain part of your core that I think you should really work on for a good year or two before you get into pounding the pavement. That's the advice I would give myself. In terms of health, I think health comes first. There's probably a million other things I could give myself advice about. 12 months ago, like, hey, buddy, don't grow out your hair. It's a huge mistake. That would be great advice. But here we are, and I just didn't listen to myself. But those are the things. So yeah, I will leave you with that. I hope you all have a really healthy and happy 2026. I hope your 2025 was great as well. And just remember, it is what we make it. I think I'll close with that quote one last time. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make of heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. That's by John Milton. So, favorite quote, take that one, and cheers.